Passover is in the air, and on this show, we'd like to better understand those very things that we do every year without understanding them. What Passover? Come on. We're all the time fighting. We have such problems. The government and the entire country is torn into pieces. We're maybe on the verge of a civil war. What Passover? But Passover is here, Dr. Lightman. What Passover? This isn't Passover. It's the deep, dark Egyptian slavery that we're in, and we're not even aware of it, that our ego is controlling us, toying with us, inciting us against each other. And that's what's going on. It's terrible. The game that our ego is playing with the people of Israel. Look what's going on. What Passover? Passover, it's already a decision that we have to escape, to get out. And the people of Israel sighed as reason of the bondage from this work that we're all in, where we're only destroying each other. It's not Passover. This is still the Egyptian slavery within the 7 years of famine. That's what the story starts with on the Pesach Hagadá. That, as the song goes, that we were slaves. And what were we? It's not that we were slaves. We're still slaves and we're not even aware of it. So what kind of slaves are we? We think that we're free people in our country. It's not the people of Israel, and we're not even in Egypt. Egypt, that means that we determine that we are under the rule of Pharaoh, under the rule of the ego. We don't think so. Wait a second, you confused me with all the motives. Are we slaves? No. Because a slave, it means that you feel that you're the slave of your evil nature. What is my evil nature? The ego, where you really have to fight with others, and you hate them, and you don't know where does this urge come from, but it comes from within, and you're not even aware of it, and you don't feel that there's this foreign force that's controlling you, but you think that it's yourself. I don't understand. There are people that behave in a bad way, and I don't think it's bad. I know many such people, right? There are people that say, I'm fed up with my evil. I'm fed up with it. I don't know what to do about this body, about my nature, about my anger, about my bad moods. When I look at others, I want to burn them. I don't like my wife and my family. That I want to leave this world altogether. It can burn as long as I care. Give me some other planet, maybe on the moon or Mars. I'll find myself a place. I don't know where to escape to. Some small deserted island, and that's it. So a person says, where does it come from? It comes because I'm evil, because I can't get along with others, because I'm destroying myself with it. So a person already understands then that he is under the rule of the evil nature. That means to be under the rule of Pharaoh. Now we have to further understand, where does it all come from? And the wisdom of Kabbalah, it explains that your nature is evil on purpose, so that gradually you'll feel, at first you don't feel that you have an evil nature. That's how nature is, that's who we are. But afterwards, you start telling yourself apart from your nature, where you have already two authorities, me and the evil nature called Pharaoh. And then I can look at that Pharaoh, at that evil nature of mine from the side and say, maybe I'll make some efforts for him not to control me. I'll treat everyone nicely. What will happen as a result doesn't matter, but I want to control him. He's all the time disconnecting me from this dual point of view where there's me and him, and he's constantly pushing me at being bad towards others. I'll show everyone when I'm driving, I'll show him, I won't let him overtake me, and so on. And here we have to come to a place where we see this evil rule, this evil control over us, foreign control over us. It's there on purpose for us to acknowledge that it is a foreign rule and we'll want to disconnect from it. We can't fight this evil, but disconnect from it. And the disconnection from it is called escaping from Egypt. Meaning, the evil, it stays, only I disconnect from it. It even exists in me, in some place down there, in my guts, but I don't allow it to jump out. I suppress it. I disconnect from it. Disconnecting from this evil where I rise above it, that's called coming out of the land of Egypt, coming out from under the rule of Pharaoh. And then I come out. I'm not yet a free people in our land, from slavery to freedom. I only come out of the slavery, but I'm not entering freedom yet. How do you go into the freedom? Wait a moment. Now you have to have the complete disconnection from Pharaoh, which is called the week of Passover, Pesach. And afterwards, those very qualities that belong to Egypt, to Pharaoh, you have to start correcting them, because I have no other nature. I had an evil nature, now I have to correct it and turn it into a good nature. And for that, I need a special force in order to correct the evil, to turn it into good after the exodus from Egypt. And then I make a calculation. How do I correct myself? And this calculation is called the count of the Omer. There in Egypt, it was bread. Later on, I had the unleavened bread, also in Hebrew meaning the bread of poverty for the first week. Then I go back to the regular bread, rich bread. And this period is called the Omer count. That also has to do with bread, wheat. And I check what was bad, and I go over all of my desires. And thank God, I have 49 up to the 50th. All of these desires, they're called Sfirot. So we have Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malchut, 7 Sfirot in my desire. That's how it's divided into 7 parts, where in each part there are also 7 parts, so 7 times 7. It's different kinds of desires? Yes, different kinds of desires. So 7 times 7, we have 49 different desires, which we want to correct, that we're ready to correct. It's the nature which I left back in Egypt when I disconnected from it. Left it there, meaning I didn't use it. Now, gradually, I'm starting to count it. You know, like you count your inventory. Very same thing. This is what I do. And then, suppose what? I start counting the desires. I have a mountain of 50 desires. I start counting them like an inventory. I pick up the first desire. What do I tell it? What? According to the desire which I'm examining right now, to the extent to which I've used it in order to harm you, in different ways, in slander, in turning people against each other, different things. Now, I'm checking, and suppose this desire is related to you, how through it can I do good deeds now? How can I do good unto you? From bad to good, from bad to good. That's called that I'm counting the inventory of all of my bad, evil, and I'm checking how can I do good with it. This is still only as a disconnection from the previous state. Because on the Passover Eve, we escape, we flee and disconnect from all of those desires, and now we're examining them. What are those desires that were in us? But now from a new state, where we're outside of Egypt, no longer under the rule of Pharaoh. I look at them, whoa, look what I was immersed in, where I was. It's like looking at yourself from the outside, something like that. It's not myself. I disconnected from them. It's no longer me. I said, this is not me. Now I identify myself with that point that came out of Egypt, which is outside of all of the egoistic desires. Now I'm at that point, and from within it I examine them one by one, desire by desire. 49, 7 times 7, 49 desires. It's called 49 days. I'm counting these desires in a certain light. I count these desires. How can I correct them? Instead of the evil with which I treated everyone in the past, and really it's thanks to Pharaoh that revealed all of our evil to us, which is he himself. Now we can invert this evil gradually into good. It's not only during the Omer count, it's a preparation for the fifth day called Shavuot, the holiday of the giving of the Torah. On the one hand, it's called Shavuot, Pentecost, because we calculated all the desires, we counted them, we made an inventory. And on the other hand, it's called the giving of the Torah, where we receive the reforming light. It's called I've created the evil inclination. Oh, now I see that it's the evil inclination. I made an inventory. Now I see it before me. And now I've created the Torah spice, meaning I'm needy of a special light, a special force that will help me to use all of these desires one by one and all of them together in order to bestow good onto others. That's called Torah, because the great rule of the Torah is love thy neighbor as thyself, love another as thyself, and this is what I come to. If I understand what you said, then you're saying that the story of Passover, it's a story of correcting the relations between people? Yes? With whom else do you have to correct your relations?